Today we're talking local, not just local journalism, but the business of building deep community connections, strong advertiser relationships, and resilient local media brands. And to help us do that, we got someone who's been walking that walk for decades. Jeffrey Warshaw is the founder and CEO of Connoisseur Media, a company that owns and operates dozens of top-performing radio stations. Yes, you heard right. Radio across the country. He's a fierce advocate for journalism, a respected voice in Washington on policy, a relentless believer that local media, when done right, still wins. And Jeffrey, when I checked you on AI, they said you're a trailblazer in broadcasting and an entrepreneurial journey began at the Wharton School of Business, where you built your first radio station. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You built a radio
you made it sound, I don't know, decades. It's like, I'm trying to pass myself as a little younger than that,
I'm sorry. This is what we brought up about you.
Oh, no.
But in an era where legacy media fights for attention, radio remains the dominant force, at least with local advertisers. Every time we check in with Gordon and Gordon Burrell and Burrell Associates, radio still comes up as number one for legacy media in local markets. So, with all that in our brains, we're going to try to dig into that, see what Jeffrey's doing differently, what lessons radio can teach the rest of us, and where the opportunities are for growth, innovation, and maybe Jeffrey will discuss cross-media partnerships, all that and more, right after this message. Stick around.
This episode of E&P Reports is sponsored by Elite Insights, the trusted partner behind some of the most successful Best Of campaigns in local media today. Elite Insights provides an easy-to-administer, self-serve platform that helps publishers generate new revenue, grow audience engagement, and capture valuable first-party data, all through the power of community recognition. Their software is designed specifically for local media companies, with user-friendly tools that make it simple to launch, promote, and monetize Best Of contests year after year. Publishers love how quickly these programs deliver results, not just for their bottom line, but also for deepening relationships with readers and local businesses. Elite Insights believes in supporting local journalism through tools that actually work, one publisher partnership at a time. To learn more, visit eliteinsights.io. That's eliteinsights.io.
All right, Jeffrey, let's start off with the state of local media today. You built Connoisseur Media around the power of local. From your perspective, what's the biggest threat to local media right now, and where's the biggest opportunity?
They're pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
The biggest threat is abandoning local. The biggest threat is trying to become another black box that is executing its sales through a programmatic exchange and loses sight of what makes us special. And the greatest opportunity we have is to be the most potent, largest sales force, largest feet on the street in our communities, getting results for our clients, being part of our communities. Our greatest opportunity is to become even more beloved and needed by our communities. It's both.
All right, so where's the focus of Connoisseur Media? You still have those transmitters, you still have that spectrum and that, but you also have a lot of digital audience as well. I mean, where are you guys at with that ratio? Where does your brain at and all that?
Well, I was very early on, maybe the first legacy broadcaster started digital marketing services business. It's like 17 years ago. So obviously digital is a big part of what we do. I was recently the chairman of the RAB, Radio Advertising Bureau. And a few years ago, all you would hear is, we need to be everywhere where our listeners want us to be. And I said, that may be true, but we also need to be everywhere our advertisers want us to be. So we try to do whatever our advertisers need to get results. If they need websites, if they need radio, if they need events, if they need creative, we do whatever it takes to get results for our clients because we want to be a sustaining resource for them.
I learned radio sales in a New England town called Lewiston, Maine. A guy named Ron Frizzell, who was he took me away from operations manager and morning man. and he said, "I'll buy you a radio. We'll make you a general manager, but you got to learn the street first." Threw me out on the street in a depression. Said, "You got to go find a gas station to trade spots for gas, and you're going to knock on doors for a year." So my background comes from fighting for those crumbs off the table, where, first, Yellow Pages took their share, and then the big newspaper took their share, and all that and more. I walked into my first newspaper as a digital lead, and I thought they were just this fat and lazy group that was taking all this demand-driven business. Is one of the reasons that Gordon Burrell is constantly screaming that newspapers are number one with local advertisers as far as legacy media goes. We know they still buy a lot of Facebook and Google and that stuff. With all that, is that the reason? I mean, why would you say radio keeps checking off as number one in getting in the door and building those local relationships?
We, by nature, have to be creative. We have to be relentless. We aren't the network TV in a market that is traditionally sitting there taking orders, or the newspaper that traditionally was getting wealthy off of their classifieds. Radio has always been one source of revenue, and that's selling ads. And so we have to become really good at it. We have to really become great at understanding what our clients need. We have to be really dedicated to making sure that our communities were served by us, because that's what made us special. And so we didn't have a whole lot handed to us. And now, as the market has continued to get more and more competitive, and there's more and more fragmented, we've responded by selling just about everything our clients might want, and doing it with a sales force that is trusted and that is has relationships with the clients. And that, I think, as the business has gotten much more fragmented, the value of the legacy in all cases has gone down. So the value of our right to broadcast at 50,000 watts in this location has gone down in value. So unless I really want to just be prepared to have my assets go down in value, I had to take other aspects of my operation and make them more valuable. I had to take my sales force and become more valuable to our clients by selling them whatever our clients need. I needed to take our clients and listen to what was important to them, and the community involvement that was important to them, and the charity that was important to them, and being there in times of need that was important to them. And I needed to take the people we had and apply those resources to those very important aspects of our business as well. So we've adapted, the business has changed, but like in our markets, we believe in having the largest sales force of any local media with deep relationships that can sell our clients anything they want. And that, in addition, when something happens in our communities, we're there.
All right, let's switch to the other. I mean, with all the stations you're managing and all the people in your group, you still find time, as you just said, to lead the RAB, to fly into DC and walk the halls of Congress and do advocacy. You've been a real strong voice on the broadcast side on Capitol Hill, especially about ownership rules and regulatory fairness. You got a whole audience here of C-suite executives in media. What changes do you see coming from the FCC or Congress? Do you think we're finally going to get compensation from big tech? Do you see something breaking in the near future, sir?
It has to. The local communities that need a voice when things are happening, when tragedies happen, when there's extreme weather, when an elected official wants to talk about what's important to them. If radio doesn't get relief, this service will diminish. We've seen it in other legacy media. And we have burdensome and archaic rules to protect nobody. Radio does single-digit revenue in its markets, in its local markets. Google might do 50%, yet Google is able to acquire and and operate virtually unfettered. And the world is being kept safe from us owning 6 FMs. Doesn't make any sense. The concept that radio is a universe unto itself is just flat out ridiculous. We compete with digital and other legacy media for eyeballs and ears, and we compete for dollars, and we compete for time. And there's no preventing somebody from competing with us in our streaming business. And the fact that we are hamstrung with these ridiculous rules cannot continue to go on. It's bad. It's bad for the communities, and it's bad for entrepreneurs, and ultimately it's bad for society.
Let's switch gears for a bit and talk about cross ownership, not AM versus FM, but there are some really hyper local operators in the newspaper world now that are picking up radio stations. Do you see more of this coming? One of the things that fascinated me, I'm slipping a little bit back to advocacy, is last year the Arizona Press Association and the Arizona Broadcast Association merged into one. Almost like saying to the world, look, you may have a legacy transmitter in your heritage, you may have a print press in your heritage, but all we're doing is trying to serve the towns we're in, and we all have the same challenges. Do you see more meshing coming together with legacy media, at least in your
The
view?
RAB, for example, there's been all kinds of discussion about whether or not it should be expanded to audio, all different audio services. That was one discussion. There's also been this, from my perspective, we have probably more in common with other media, like even digital media, who have feet on the street, and we're facing a lot of the same challenges as they are. I think that it's really depends upon the operator and what they're trying to accomplish. And if you have a full sales force and newspaper, and you feel like you could benefit from having radio signals, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that having local salespeople, whatever they're selling, is important to our communities and making sure that our advertisers are getting great results.
You're growing, you're buying. Everyone's reporting on what's going on now with Alpha Media and other acquisitions. It was Warren Buffett who said, when people are greedy, be fearful. When people are fearful, be greedy. And I'm curious, you're buying when others are holding back. Are you still go on legacy media? Are you all in? Do you see yourself expanding even more at Connoisseur?
I do. I think that what we do is different than most media companies. We believe in a big local presence and like lots of local programming and lots of local events, community involvement, big sales force. We are, I think, very strategic. We believe in looking at things over the long haul. I see us expanding not only in radio, but in our markets, selling more digital, selling creative. Ultimately, I think that there are other media that will abandon local sales forces because it's not all they do. The outdoor or cable business, I think someday might be coming to us and asking us to sell their inventory as well. Of course, we can sell their inventory already in a programmatic way, and that's only expanding as cable is becoming more and more OTT, and it is definitely there's a convergence, and the ability to serve our local advertisers and to work to get results for them, it transcends whatever particular media we're trying to sell.
All right, we're getting near that end of our journey. As you likely know, when content today goes too long, audiences tend to wane. We try to keep these at 20 minutes. I used to do 45-minute, 50-minute podcasts, and I would just watch the audience just come down after. So I'm going to take us to a lightning round, if that's okay.
Sure.
I want you to do me a favor and tell me one thing local media must stop doing today. What is the one thing that pisses you off the most, sir?
What pisses me off is when companies approach things from what's important to them rather than what's important to their listeners or their advertisers.
Amazing. All right. One underrated opportunity for growth you see fellow local news media executives ignoring. Where do you see the most opportunity everybody else seems to be missing?
Local, baby.
It's that simple, right? But then you're telling me, I hate to say this, you're telling me that nothing's changed. We were screaming that in the 80s and 90s and 2000s at all these conferences. If you ain't local, you're nothing. It's still the same, right?
Well, I mean, that's our point of view and our business plan. Other people have business plans that work for them, but this is what we love. This is what we think we're good at, and we think it's vital. And we're dedicated to it. This is what makes us tick. It's what makes us get up in the morning, and that's why we're doing it. And we attract people that feel the same way.
Well done. I want to thank you for your time, sir.
My pleasure. It's great to get to know you.
Jeffrey Warshaw, founder and CEO of Connoisseur Media. We're going to keep an eye on you at E&P Magazine. We hope you'll keep an eye on us as well. And keep up the good fight, sir. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks. My pleasure. Thank you.